Halloween and welcome to MLS Playoff Central, the pregame show presented by Audi. We are bringing you everything you need to know about the Audi 2017 MLS Cup playoffs and a huge Eastern Conference semifinal matchup tonight, leg one of the series between the Columbus Crew and NYCFC. It's going to be big. I'm Susanna Collins, and I have an amazing crew with me tonight. Former MLSer, host of The Movement, co-host of This Week in MLS with me, my good friend Kaylin Carr. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good
Always
to see you,
good
buddy.
to see you, Susanna.
Love sharing a desk with you. Our very own armchair analyst, Matt Doyle. Always great to have you in the house, sir.
Always good to be here.
And last but not least, 12-year MLS veteran, former Defender of the Year, all-around good guy, Bobby Boswell.
Thank you for adding that part.
Also, former teammates.
You missed
right
something
here.
in his bio.
Please.
Former Cosmo Bachelor of the Year. What year was that?
What?
2005, maybe?
Oh man, I didn't do a deep enough dive on the wiki page.
It's good to see your memories working on that one.
Missed opportunities,
got
people.
that one quick.
Guys, we also have Jill Sakovitz, who is out at Maffrey Stadium, so we're going to be checking in with her throughout the show. Just a reminder, you can watch this game at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, and for our friends up in Canada, this one's going to be on TSN and TVA Sports. Also, we are going to be back here post-game, so tune in to MLS Playoff Central. We're going to break it all down for you. It's going to be fun. But let's kick things off, shall we? Bobby, since I have you here, and I don't mean to rub salt in the wound, but we're going to go there. Coming off that heartbreaking loss in the knockout round to Columbus Crew, I mean, you were watching this game. I was there. What did you see from this Crew team that impressed you so much?
Well, the first thing is we knew going into the game they were in great form. So a team that comes into the playoffs hot is usually going to stay hot, and unfortunately for us, that continued that night. They had a heck of a game out of their goalie. We created a lot of chances, weren't able to score, but they created a lot of chances too. And the woodwork was quite busy that night.
That crossbar, man.
But they're a very good team, and they're very talented. And I expect them to keep it rolling tonight, to be honest.
Momentum.
They haven't lost momentum. They haven't lost in 3 months now almost, and they haven't lost at home since the beginning of July. They have done a lot of stuff right. They have also taken advantage, I think, of a little bit of a soft spot in their schedule. Because if you look at their last 10 games of the regular season, only one was against a playoff team. Of course, that team happened to be NYCFC, and they did pretty well in that one. They got a 2-2 draw in Queens, and then, of course, that draw against Bobby and Atlanta. But it's not just that they're playing better. They're getting a little bit lucky. The bounces that were going against this team at the start of the year, Joseph Martinez hits the post, and it goes out. Like he slips Mensah, and he has a goal that we've seen Joseph Martinez score 18 times this year, and somehow he rings the inside of the post and out. So, look, you can't quantify luck, but this team feels like it has a little bit of something, a little bit of team of destiny feel to it right now.
I think you make your own luck too. I mean, playoffs, you need things to go your way. You need guys to stay healthy. You need the calls to go your way. But I'm not a big fan of the luck shout. But at the same time, everyone needs it. Yeah, everyone needs it.
They've been strong up the spine, too. I thought Mensah and Williams in the back were really good in this game against Joseph Martinez. And then Artur and Will Trapp, so good in the middle. Yeah. These two young pieces they've been able to build through. You wondered how they'd break pressure. They're going to see it again tonight. The one thing we were talking about, Bobby, though, beforehand was talking about a team that forgot how to lose. I remember you saying that. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, you have to go back months before you remember the last time they lost. So for me, like I say, form is a huge thing coming in because you build on it over and over, and in practice and training, you kind of go through the same routine. Some people call it superstitious actions, but the mood's got to be great around their locker room because they find a way to get the results that they need. And you could say that NYCFC is not in the best form. So I think if you were to say whose form's better coming into the game, I think Columbus has that advantage.
Bobby, you mentioned the mood in the locker room. Obviously, we're all aware of the situation surrounding this team. Anthony Precourt potentially moving the team to Austin. I spoke to Will Trapp and Justin Meram ahead of the game in Atlanta, asked them about the distractions, how you deal with it. They said from in the locker room, you wouldn't know that this big issue was sort of standing in front of him. But Kaylin, When there are distractions like this off the field, is it sort of a rallying cry for a team? How does it change the environment in the locker room?
Yeah, I think they've come together. They have had no choice to. I think obviously you see everywhere their supporters are going to be messaging them on Twitter, or I see on social media all the time, #SaveTheCrew. So there's a little added emotion to coming home and getting a home game, playing in front of their home crowd tonight. That said, I think there's enough to play for with this group on itself. I don't think they need any extra motivation, and in some ways they've been overlooked. I think that's where some of their inspiration is going to come from.
I think as a player, the media and the fans, they kind of give you too much credit with what's going on in your head.
No.
I think for me, their coach is a very detail-oriented coach. I think that they're more focused on the game. They're more worried about how to stop David Villa in this NYCFC attack. They're aware of what's going on, but their job is to go out and get a result. We're win-driven in sports, and that's what they're thinking tonight. They're going to find a way to win the game, and they'll worry about everything else once the final whistle's blown.
Yeah, you say it's a results-driven industry, right? And I think they do need to get a win tonight, even though they did have that nice 2-2 draw at Citi Field in Queens to end the regular season against NYCFC. But it's going to be tough for this team because they did expend so much energy against Atlanta, 120 minutes, very dramatic, obviously, and playing with a lot of emotion. I worry personally about Artur's ability to recover because he hasn't been a 90 minutes game in, game out every single week player, and he was dominant in that game against you guys. I worry about his ability to turn around 5-6 days after that, come out and be as significant a force as he was. Because if you don't have that in central midfield against NYCFC will destroy you. And the Crew know that because the Crew give up goals every time they play NYCFC.
Matt, you mentioned this. They are unbeaten in their last 11 games. They have not lost a game since August 5th. Arguably the hottest team in the league heading into the postseason, but we're kind of talking about it here. They still sort of feel like the underdog in this matchup, are they?
Over the course of two legs, I think they obviously are. And I know that form, 11 unbeaten, as we said, but most of those were sub-playoff teams, and I think you have to sort of take that with a grain of salt then. And I know NYCFC haven't been great down the stretch, but this is still the second best team on the year. And I think when they have, their whole lineup, especially that central midfield and David Villa up front, fit and functional and together on the field, I think they have, their ceiling, they're the only team that I could see at Toronto FC's level. So I think over the course of two legs, NYCFC.
I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. I think that they are in form, and I also think that playing at home, they're going to play their style of play. It's going to be a real battle of those young central midfielders that we'll get into later. But for me, the way that Higuaín's playing, I don't see how you can say that they're not a favorite to go out and win tonight. And with that being said, I think when you play the first game at home and you get a good result, the playoffs are actually favored for you. I think it's a disadvantage sometimes to have to play away. And Kalen, we were on some teams that made good runs when we were a lower seed, and I think it's because if you take care of business at home, it sets the tone, and it kind of defines your role of what you have to do in the second leg.
You said it. I think this Columbus Crew SC team actually reminds me a little bit of some of the Dynamo teams we played on, where being the underdog is actually this team's strength. I think they've already gone down and beaten you guys in Atlanta, a team that everybody has been celebrating all season for their attacking firepower. Now when you look back at who's left in the East, you've got two teams from New York, and you've got TFC with their big stars up front. So there's a little bit of feeling, you may not talk about it in the locker room, but there's a feeling of, hey, maybe nobody wants us to be here. They don't expect us to get past this. Our owners talking about potentially moving cities.
We've all seen the movie Major League. Yeah, we know how this goes.
We've played in MLS Cups where we played against the Galaxy. It's owned by the same ownership group. So some of that distractions around the team, I think, can actually galvanize a group, and they can relish that opportunity of being the underdog that nobody's talking about.
I will tell you, after that win in Atlanta, that team, the amount of confidence and kind of swagger that they had, I mean, this was a team that absolutely 100% believes that they can win Cup this year. I mean, that's undeniable.
Well, as Bobby said, they have a guy in Federico Higuaín he's playing like he was in 2015. He aged backwards for a year now, and he's 29 again. So when you have a guy like that, whose movement is that good and who can be that creative in central midfield, and then wingers like Justin Meram and Pedro Santos, I know the end product hasn't been there, but he's been able to do a lot of good stuff. Suddenly they get a little bit of a flow, and they don't have to take as many risks with their fullbacks. And that's always been a thing for Greg Berhalter. He throws those fullbacks way up the field. And that gives them a little bit more of a margin, I think, than they've had in years past. That said, they're still underdogs, and you are wrong.
All right, well, for more on the crew, let's send it out to Jill Sakovits, who is on the field at Mafre Stadium with Justin Meram. Jill.
Unbeaten since August 5th. What is clicking right for this team?
Just the mindset, the belief within the locker room. I think we had a tough stretch in the summer, and then we came together collectively, and we're on a roll, and we're going to keep it going.
Given the climate here in Columbus right now, does it feel like this team has something else to play for?
No, I mean, our goal was always to win some hardware. And we're not going to let some situations control our destiny. I think we're pretty strong-minded with this group, and we're just going to, head down and keep working.
What can we expect here tonight?
Some goals. That's going to happen, yeah.
New York City, it's a team that likes to build out of the back, starting with Sean Johnson. Is there a way to take advantage of that?
I mean, it's two teams building out of the back, and I think both teams are going to high press at times, but also stay compact. So, honestly, I think it's choosing our moments, when we're going to press them and when we're going to stay compact.
Justin, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jill. All right, Justin Meram's promising goals, guys. So I hope he lives up to
I don't
this.
think they haven't had a
Is that gonna be a
shutout.
problem?
Yeah, neither team's had a shutout when they played each other. So
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about NYCFC, all right? Only their third year in the league. They had a little taste of the postseason last year. Didn't go so well for them necessarily, but you have to imagine that there were some takeaways from that experience. What were those?
Well, Patrick Vieira has said all week, we messed it up last year in the postseason. We weren't ourselves. We went into a shell. We tried to play too defensively, and we're not going to make the same mistake this year. And I'm glad to hear that because this team is so much fun to watch when they go on the attack. And as good as their defense has been this year, their attack is better. And that's what people want to watch. And I think that is probably the only way that NYCFC can win. They're not going to get through the playoffs winning 1-0 time and time again. They're not the old Houston Dynamo team of yore.
yeah, I mean, we didn't have David Villa playing for us either. But
You had Kalen Carr. Well, that's a slam, man.
Is that the first time you've ever been compared to David Villa? Caitlin?
Yes.
he made that comparison, by the way.
Yes. Well, when you talk about, we look at NYCFC, as we mentioned, like only their third season in this league. How big is their lack of playoff experience going to factor in here?
I don't think that they are. They expect to win MLS Cup. I think with the names that they have, the coaching staff that they have, they expect to go out and compete for MLS Cup. And I think that a lot of people are expecting Toronto and NYCFC in the final, and I think they've in their heads kind of got that idea as well. Mm-hmm. And Columbus is staying in their way. But when you have guys that have won World Cups on your roster in and out of training every day, I think those expectations are there.
And I'm not sure they're so inexperienced now because Villa was there last year, and they have Rodney Wallace and they have Sean Johnson, who, I mean, he hasn't had a ton of playoff experience, but he's a veteran in this league. They have guys who I think can stabilize what they have elsewhere, and what they have elsewhere is talent, especially in the central midfield. I think everything good that NYCFC does comes from Alex Ring and Yanhel Herrera and Maxi Morales, those three guys working together. Kalen, they can just smother you.
Yeah, well, the expectations for this club didn't match up to the reality. I think they came in last year and thought that they could pass their way out of the back and build up all the way through the midfield and score goals through David Villa, and they realized last year, oh, shoot, we're in trouble because teams are going to jump us. You run into a team like Toronto FC, and it was too late for them. So they've gone back and started in the back with Sean Johnson. He's been tremendous for them throughout the season, being able to play out of the back. Most people thought he couldn't do that. Callum, Ring, Herrera, that spine up the middle, and then adding some nice pieces with Wallace, and then the emergence of Jack Harrison on the wings has taken a little bit of the pressure off David Villa. That said, however far they're going to go, it's going to be David Villa.
Yeah, he's still the center of the spokes all shoot off from him. He is the star of the show. But like you said, I like that spine. Vieira has had a knack for finding players that maybe other teams have discarded a little bit, like Ethan Finlay and Ben Sweat, and getting the best out of them, and we're going to see them both start tonight. Wallace and Harrison concern me a little bit, though, because they haven't been the same guys the last 2.5 months that they were for most of the year. Harrison especially, only 2 goals, 1 assist since July. It seems like he's gone into something of a slump.
Yeah, I think he's feeling it too. You look at the New England game; he got a red card. Sometimes when you're feeling the pressure, you go out and you lash out a little bit. He's young; he can make those mistakes, but he's super talented. And I think those wingers in general are super talented. They put a lot of pressure on opposing defenses, and you get all caught up in worrying about David Villa, and you forget about this guy scoring goals on you. So I think part of the reason that they're so successful and why they will continue to be successful is that you can't just worry about one guy or 2 guys. They've added the pieces that make them a dangerous team, and heaven forbid you start worrying about those guys, you forget about the guy that we talk about all the time in Villa. So they have a lot of weapons, and when they possess the ball out of the back and they throw numbers forward, it's a fun thing to watch. But I think Columbus is going to do the same thing, and I'm agreeing with Meram on this one. I think there will be a lot of goals tonight, and it should be an exciting game.
I think Jack Harrison is a big-time player. I know he's been in a slump, but he's stepped up in big moments, in the derbies, in the big matches for this team. I don't think he's afraid of the moment tonight. And the guy on the other side of him, Rodney Wallace, he has an MLS Cup winning goal to his name in Columbus against Columbus Crew SC. Yeah. I'm sure those fans have not forgotten about that.
Yeah, we're seeing it here. They do send those wingers forward. They send their fullbacks forward as well. I think that's something that we're going to see from both teams. I do wonder, though, if there will be a little bit of caginess. Nothing compared to what we saw from both Western Conference games. But I think there's probably a danger, especially with away goals. There's a danger for Columbus here if they get too aggressive and they throw both fullbacks forward. Because the last thing you want is for Wallace and Harrison to get into a rhythm, because then you got to pay more attention to them, and then you're paying less attention to David Villa, who again is David Villa.
Excellent point. Gentlemen, we have this fancy touchscreen over here, and I would like you guys to get up and sort of break down this NYCFC offense for us. How are these goals going to be scored?
Well, this year, NYCFC has become a much more multi-dimensional attacking team, and part of that is just the ability to score out of the high press. And Bobby, we're about to see a center back's nightmare.
The way these coaches ask you to play, it's a nightmare for defenders because you're asked to play out, and sometimes this happens. The coaches give you the choice to play out, and sometimes you can get burned.
Yeah, last year it was all through possession. You can still get burned by this team, but you don't have to do anything wrong. They can still kill you. And let's watch this run right here from David Villa after releasing the pass. And notice, again, the fullbacks are very high.
This is an incredible goal. Sometimes you just got to tip your hat to a team goal, and in this case, a great finish as well.
Yeah, he does that. This is another very nice team goal that we're about to show you right here. But this game of ours, Bobby, it's all about time and space.
That's right. So you're going to have a lot of double midfielders in here. You're going to have 2 holding guys, so the spaces are going to be here on both sides. And then you watch, once the ball gets in there and they're running at you, there's cerebral movements from these guys. They've done it in training. They do it in the real games. And they have a beautiful thing to watch.
A nice guy to build around in David Villa. A team that when they get flying, they can score goals with just about anybody in the league. They're going to have to do that tonight. In the 7 games these 2 teams played against each other, 32 goals. Justin Meram's right. There will be goals in it tonight.
That's absurd.
Let's hope so. All right, great stuff, guys. NYCFC also have a pretty good insurance policy on the other side of the ball. Jill Sakovits is standing by with Sean Johnson at Mafre Stadium. Jill.
Sean, Columbus, a team that has momentum on their side right now, including the fact that they last 6 out of 7 here at home. They've won. What concerns you most about their game?
I think coming in tonight, I think, for us, I think we're more worried about ourselves. To be honest, our game plan, executing what we need to do, I think is the most important thing. It's this time of year now where the regular season doesn't matter. Past performances don't matter. It's about now and living in the moment, so that's what we'll do.
New York City, a team that has had 5 clean sheets on the road. How'd you do it?
Yeah, I think just collectively being committed to defending and defending well. I think, over the course of the year, we've had a lot of players step up and contribute. all over the pitch. And we have a lot of depth and guys that understand what we're trying to do as a team. And I think once everybody's bought in and everybody does what's necessary to come away with shutouts, I think it's great.
You guys have had the week off. What have you worked on? How are you guys feeling coming in here tonight?
Yeah, we feel strong. Most importantly, everybody's healthy and give ourselves a chance. You want the best chance you have is going in with everybody prepared mentally, physically. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to get the job done, and hopefully we'll do that tonight.
Sean, thanks.
Thanks, Jill. All right, guys, time now to take a look at some starting lineups. So let's check out how it's going to look for NYCFC and their starting 11. What do you think, guys? Any surprises here?
To me, the surprises are the fullbacks. I expected Matarrita and Struna to be out there. But this is, we've seen a lot of Ethan White and Ben Sweat this year. They've both been pretty good. And this is pretty close to a first-choice 11 for Patrick Vieira, which he hasn't had a lot of recently.
I agree. They're going to have their work cut out for them, those outside backs. I think, Justin didn't have a great game against Atlanta. I see him bouncing back tonight. Santos is a bit of an unknown quantity, and I don't think Sweat's got a whole lot of looks at him. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out over the course of the game.
All right, let's take a look at Columbus's starting 11. What have they got in store, guys?
Well, as Bobby just said, it's those wingers, right? They can attack with those two guys and Ola Kamara and still be completely fine against most teams. But Meram does have to play better. I think he's carrying a knock. When he was subbed out against Atlanta at the 60th minute, he wasn't angry about it, which tells you the player knows he's hurt. The interesting thing to me, left back, Hector Jimenez carrying a yellow from that game. He had the nice horse collar tackle that Kalen really appreciated. He's a big Cal football fan. So that is something to keep an eye on. And the gap between Mensah and Williams, they've been much better since Josh Williams got into the lineup. But David Villa knows Josh Williams, and David Villa is like a supercomputer center forward.
Yeah, he learns as quick as anyone what your weaknesses and strengths are. He's been able to do it against teams that I've been on in a matter of minutes. So he played a whole season with him, so I'm sure he knows how to exploit it. And Alan Kelly's the rep tonight. It'll be interesting to see how he calls this game, because I could see those center backs trying to give him a little bit of love taps and set the tone early. But if the ref's calling it real tight, it's going to be hard for them to really initiate what they want to do in terms of kicking him, not letting him get into a rhythm.
When was the last time you saw a ref call a tight playoff game?
Same lineup.
No.
Same lineup. Watch for Kukutamane off the bench again.
Ooh, I like it, Kalen. Yep. Good stuff. Guys, time now for our Audi Player Index Spotlight, featuring, guess who? None other than David Villa, a guy that we've mentioned a fair few times tonight. And guys, these numbers speak for themselves. David Villa, season average, 639. That's good for second in the league. Rest of MLS, 259. So now I'm going to send you to the board to break these numbers down, fellas.
David Villa, a man of many talents, none more pronounced than the ability to put the ball in the net, which he does as well as anyone we've ever had in this league. And here he is picking up a second ball, and suddenly it's a defender's nightmare, because both these guys are thinking about the upcoming 2v1 because of the overlap.
Well, you got to watch out for Sweat there, of course, but you also want to watch this space right here between these two guys. It's too big here, especially with knowing what David Villa can do on his right foot.
Yeah.
They're going to need to be connected in this
They
one.
are, and they're not. And Zach Steffen should make that save, but you cannot, under any circumstances, let David Villa get the ball on his good foot in the box and have a rip at goal, because you're going to be leaving your goalkeeper out to dry. This is more classic center forward play, riding that back line, occupying both fire center backs, and understanding he has to be a little bit patient with his run. Once he makes it, though, it's all very simple, isn't it, Ken?
Well, yeah, he can hurt you in different ways. He can hurt you underneath with the ball at his feet. He can hit you in behind. Composure. You know he's going to hurt you from there.
That soft touch. He took about 6 touches in the box right there. There was no getting the ball off his foot. The man is a magician, and he is second this year in our Audi Player Index. That's why he's in the spotlight tonight. You can see better than twice as good as the average player over the course of the season, and he did have a very nice game against Columbus the last time these two teams met. David Villa, already a legend. We'll see if he can become an MLS Cup champion in 2017.
All right, time now to bring in my girl, Jill Sakovits, who is out at Maffrey Stadium. And Jill, we've talked a lot about the sort of off-the-field distractions with the potential move of the team, and you are there right now, and I'm so curious. I want to know what the environment is like there and how Greg and the team have been addressing it.
Yeah, among the fans, you can see behind me, there's the supporters. They're out just like they usually would. And you want to know what, Susanna? I've had a chance to talk to people around the stadium, and they said this is exactly what you can expect at a game in Columbus. This is why we are such a special city. This is why we are such a unique fan base. And they're just upbeat and they're happy. It's a great environment to be in for a playoff game. We're really looking forward to it. Now, in terms of Greg Berhalter, I got a chance to talk to him, and he said that, listen, the team knows exactly what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on. And it's not a distraction. The crew is using it as motivation. He said that this is a team that is trying to win something for the fans. And I really thought that was a special thing to say. He said the longer that we can keep these fans happy and play for them, the better.
Jill, I can hear the fans. They're in good voice tonight. It sounds amazing.
Yes.
Sounds like they're all out there.
They're happy.
Loud and proud. I was at the game in Atlanta, and Greg Berhalter after the game spoke about Zach Steffen and how impressed he had been in the entire week in training leading up to that game, his first playoff game. What else has he said about Zach Steffen and particularly his preparation for this match tonight?
Susanna, I asked Greg, what sticks out to you the most when it comes to Zach? And hands down, he said it's his poise. It's so rare in a young goalkeeper to see the type of poise that Zach can show. He says high stress, high pressure situations, Zach is able to not only lead, but to respond and to do it very well. I asked him how much should Zach be now in the U.S. men's national team conversation? And he says, well, when you're playing well, that'll come. That's the natural progression for Zach should he be able to keep this up.
Jillian, a lot of individual performances you could highlight, Zach Steffen obviously being the main one. What is Berhalter saying from a team perspective that's gotten them to be so successful?
Yeah, I heard Susanna say it before that perhaps there's no team hotter right now than the way that the crew is playing. They've won 6 of their last 7 here at home, and I tried to get it out of Greg. What exactly is it that's going right? And he just said it's consistency. They hit that rough patch over the summer, and right now they're just playing the best soccer that they can, and they're doing it consistent, and they're doing it week after week. And if you ask me, obviously there's the momentum factor as well.
That little thing called momentum. It's pretty important in the playoffs. Jill, thank you so much. We look forward to your post-game interviews and report.
See you after the game.
Enjoy it.
Yes.
All right, guys. Time now for my favorite part of the evening. Little prediction time. Keys for you guys. What are you looking forward to most in this matchup? Kaylin, let's start with you.
I'm looking forward, actually, to see the turnout in Columbus. I think there's been so much made leading up to this match about save the crew. I'd love to see the fans show up, as you said, in full voice and really support this team on their run, because I really think they have a lot left in them. As far as my prediction for the match, everybody said I think there'll actually be goals in this one. Columbus, some of those shots that hit the post on the road tend to go in at home. I think they get 3 in this one, and David Villa and NYCFC, I think, get 2. But the crew in the edge with this one.
Ooh. See, the forward believes in luck.
Yeah, of course he does. He made a living off that. For me, I think it's going to be the style battle. They both want to play out of the back. Will they stay true to that over the course of the game? It's a risky game to play, but they seem to have the faith of their coaching staff to continue to do that. It's a game of mistakes, and sometimes that's going to happen. So tonight, I think the crew's going to win. I'm going to guess 3-2.
All right.
It's a good call. I think it'll be 2-2. I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. But as Bobby said, it's a game of mistakes. And as well as Mensah and Williams have played together back there, I just don't believe they are going to get away with allowing that gap that they do tend to allow. I think David Villa rediscovered his form at the end of the regular season there a little bit. They're obviously well-rested. And on the other side, I just think Columbus is going to get one absolute dunk on a set piece. And we saw, again, the last time these two teams played, Josh Williams had one where he went way up and just threw it down. So I think it's going to be a good game, finally. We're in leg 1, all right? The last one.
Goals.
And I hope that I'm with Kaylin, I hope that the fans get out there and show Major League Soccer what they're all about in Ohio.
I think they will. I think it's going to be a draw as well, but I'm going 3-3 because I think it's going to be 6 goals. I just bring them. Just give me all the goals. Give me all the goals. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, we are going to be back here after the game for MLS Playoff Central. Tune into ESPN right now and ESPN Deportes and TSN and TVA Sports in Canada. This game is kicking off at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you again for watching. We'll see you after the game. Enjoy.